Good afternoon. I'm Corinne Rupp, clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm here with,
Julie Turner, clinical hypnotherapist.
and we're going to talk a few things today about our childhood. 80% of who we are is put in place before we're 8 years old. So when you think about that, it becomes a pretty interesting thing. What actually runs you? How many things do you do on autopilot? And what is the process that the decisions that you're making as adults? So Julie and I were kind of talking about some of the decisions that we made as children, that when we see them through an adult perspective, it changes. And yet it still runs us. And it's interesting how many people running around today in our world are operating from an 8-year-old decision or a 10-year-old decision, and they're really not even sure why they have that decision. They just keep running with it because it's the normal thing to do. So Julie, you and I were talking, you had such an interesting story and such an impactful story, and I would love for you to share that, if you will, with our viewers. It really did it makes such a huge impact when we begin to realize and to understand what actually runs us. So go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you so much for chatting with me again today. I'm always happy to chat with Corinne. So before we came on, we were just talking about different ways that hypnosis has helped us. And I was saying that one of the most impactful things for myself was seeing a situation that I remembered, because often we don't actually remember the things that we get to see in hypnosis. So I remembered this situation. So I was a very young girl and my parents had just separated. And I was standing out in the hallway outside of their bedroom, and my father was inside the bedroom and he was crying. And I remember this. And I remember thinking, wow, that sucked, whatever. But, it's part of your childhood. I didn't really think too much about it. But when I saw it in hypnosis, I was a 10-year-old, I believe 10 years old, standing in the hallway, and I made myself a promise. I remember I saw myself in hypnosis making this promise to myself that if that's what love looked like, I was never going to have any part of it. I promised I would never love anyone because it looked awful. And I didn't realize that I had actually kept that promise. Now, that doesn't mean that I never had empathy in my life and that I didn't care about people, but I never let them in. I had huge walls, an inability to be vulnerable with anyone. Mm-hmm. So after seeing that and realizing, oh my goodness, I took a perception of, I saw such a small window. I don't know what happened that day. I don't know what happened in their relationship. I can't possibly know. But it wasn't love equals bad, don't do it. And that's what my child's perception was. So that is, I'm so passionate about when people come to me with the story of their childhood, about helping them see it as an adult, because I know what a dramatic change in my personality, and those that know me and knew me before and know me now, hopefully they can attest to that. Mm-hmm. But it makes such a huge difference when you can actually let go of the child's mentality around the situation. So huge, and so grateful for hypnotherapy for that situation, for sure.
I mean, we make decisions as children, mm-hmm. and these decisions create an emotional attachment. So we create this emotional attachment as children that we carry on into our adult life, and we wonder why some things work and some things don't. And so when we can remove the emotional charge or the emotional attachment of the decisions that we make as children, it sets us free as adults to actually make decisions that actually make sense as an adult, yes. Not as a child. Right. This becomes lots of psychological things, but here's what I know in hypnosis when we do a thing called age regression or some of the other advanced techniques that actually support you to let go of those emotional attachments that really keep you stuck as a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old. Or even I had a client the other week where he was stuck in the birth canal. He actually was stuck and from the birth canal, he always felt stuck. And he made a decision that his life was all about being stuck. And when we were able to see that from an adult perspective and change the emotion, like you did, Julie, like amazing work that got done in a very short period of time, yes. It changes the way that you feel and operate as an adult. You actually feel like you just grew up in a short period of time. it's a very interesting process. One of the most fascinating and easiest ways to deal with this childhood, you called it, the whole thing about the emotions, is through hypnosis.
Yeah.
So it really is important to work with a hypnotherapist that you trust. We have lots in Vancouver, but you really want to make sure that to know where their education comes from. Some people are PhDs and doctorates, and they're awesome, but some of them are like 2 days and they're a certified hypnotherapist online. I would be really cautious about going to those. I know for us at U Academy of Advanced Hypnotherapy, we have a 20-day program. It is IMDHA certified. And the difference between what we're doing and what everyone else is doing is we're really about continuing education in a community.
Yes.
And Julie, I'm so grateful that you were able to talk about this story, because I know this is very emotional for you. But I also know that it's awesome that you have gone through it and you were able to support, and you support so many people going through this process, which is absolutely amazing.
I was going to mention as well, like, because you were talking about making sure that you work with somebody that you click with, that is educated appropriately, but trust is a huge factor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, this has to be somebody that you fully and completely trust for you to even be able to utilize this experience to the fullest capacity. The other thing is, so I talk to a lot of people. I'm huge on networking, and I'm not even sure, Corinne, if you understand how different the way that you educate at U Academy is, because there's so much follow-up, making sure that you as a clinical hypnotherapist are supported in your business and in your, we have continuing education, but also there's also coaching classes as well, so that you can actually, because what happens if, okay, I found this out, I have this awareness, but now I go back into my life, I never see you again. I go back into my life and my behaviors don't change that much. Absolutely, incrementally, it's going to change because I don't have those walls that I once had, but my behaviors are still the same. You're still going to run on autopilot because our minds are still so busy, right? So to actually be given some homework to make those small changes, to continue to do the work, that's not something that everybody does.
Very true.
So,
hypnotherapy and the coaching, the combination of the two, absolutely make it a very powerful partnership, so that people can actually create change and empower themselves to create the change that they want.
Yes.
Anyway, this is kind of more of a serious topic, and so I'm grateful to be able to, share this with you and share this with Julie, and Julie to share her story. It was pretty awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That was great.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully that shed some light for a couple people.
All right. We'll talk to you all, everybody, next week.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.